For today's math lesson, we are looking at how to convert fractions into decimal numbers. And the first method that we are going to use is the simplest method, and that is the use of a calculator. Now, all we need to do to solve these questions is to divide the top number of the fraction by the bottom number and then read off the answer. Why is it that that works? Well, if you can remember back in October when we first talked about fractions, we learned about how fractions really are just division questions. So if we need to know what the decimal equivalent of 5/8 is, if we need to convert that into a decimal form, we can just say, what is 5 divided by 8? What is 5 divided by 8? And the solution is 625 thousandths. And this works for other numbers too. Let's look at 3/4. We know that that's going to be less than 1 as well. 3/4 is equal to 3 divided by 4, which is 75 hundredths. And it works for other numbers too. What about 7/8? Let's use that calculator to do this one. 7 divided by, remember the numerator first, the number on top first, 7 divided by 8 is equal to, and there it is 875 thousandths. And that's it for the first strategy. I would like you to use this strategy for a few questions today. We can always avoid using our calculator and use long division in order to solve these problems as well. And we can use the same style of long division that we have practiced in the past. For example, if we need to know 3/4, if we have to convert the fraction 3/4 into decimals, we can solve this problem. Now, just like we did before, we will see what we can multiply 4 by to get a number that is less than 3, but as close to it as we can. And I know that if I were to halve 4, if it were in half, then it would give me 2. So I'm going to say 4 times 0.5 because that will half 4 and give me 2. And then I'm left with just 1, and I know that there are 4/4 in one whole. So I can say 4 times 1/4, which is 0.25. 4 times 1/4 is equal to 1 whole. There we go. And then I add these numbers together, 0.5 plus 0.25, or 5/10 plus 25 hundredths, and my solution is 75 hundredths, or 0.75. For those of you who would prefer to use the traditional algorithm in order to solve this problem, here is what 5/8 would look like, converting it into a decimal number using the traditional form of long division. So answer the questions today in the Google Classroom in whichever of these forms of division you feel most comfortable with.